If you've ever written a song, or even just spent hours trying to get a sound just right, you know how much work goes into it. You feel like you own it.
You do. But the big question is, how does the law see that? How does it protect your work so you can actually get paid for it?
Right. And that system is what we call copyright. We're not just going to give you a textbook definition, though.
No, because the key thing to understand about music specifically is that the law splits every song into two halves.
Two halves. And that one idea is the key to, well, the entire music business.
It really is. Every song you hear is covered by two completely separate copyrights, and the money works differently for both.
Okay, so let's break down that split. What are the two halves of a song?
So the first half is the musical composition.
The composition.
Yeah, think of it like the blueprint for the song. It's the melody, the chords, the lyrics. It's the core idea of the music.
The part you could, write down on a piece of paper or just sing by yourself.
Exactly. And the legal protection for that composition, it starts the moment you fix it.
Fix it. What does that mean?
It just means getting it out of your head and into a tangible form.
Ah.
So writing it down or even just recording a voice memo on your phone.
Okay, so from that second, you own the copyright to the idea.
You do. And that copyright is usually owned by the songwriter or maybe a music publishing company that they work with.
So to make this real, let's say a huge hit song gets covered by 3 different artists.
Mm-hmm.
One is a full orchestra, one's a punk band, and one is just some kid on a laptop.
Right.
The original songwriter still owns that one single composition, right, that connects all those different versions.
Precisely. That's their idea.
Yeah.
Now, the second half is the sound recording. This is often called the master recording.
And this is the finished product, the actual audio file you listen to.
Yes. It's the specific performance that was captured in the studio, then mixed and mastered. It's the final version that fans actually hear.
So while the composition is about the idea, the sound recording is about the performance, the production, all the work that went into making that specific track.
Exactly right. And ownership here is different. It's usually the record label that owns the master.
Because they're the ones who paid for the studio, the producers, the promotion.
They fronted the money. So, in our example with the 3 cover versions,
Right.
you would have 3 brand new, completely separate sound recording copyrights.
Right.
One for the orchestra, one for the punk band, one for the laptop artist.
But still only that one original composition copyright underneath it all.
And that's where the tension in the industry comes from. The publisher, who owns the composition, and the record label, who owns the master, are often fighting for different things.
Even though it's the same song?
Even though it's the same song.
Okay, so let's talk about making this official. You said copyright is automatic. If I already have the rights, why do artists bother registering their songs with a government office?
It's all about proof. I mean, yes, the copyright exists automatically, but registering it creates a public record.
So it's like an official timestamp.
It is. If you ever end up in a lawsuit, say someone accuses you of copying their song, or you accuse them, that registration is your strongest piece of evidence. It makes it so much easier to prove you're the owner.
It's just good legal protection.
Absolutely.
Okay, now the money. The songwriter, the owner of the composition, gets paid whenever their song is played in public.
Yes, on the radio, in a restaurant, at a gym, anywhere.
How in the world can one person track every single time their song gets played everywhere in the world? It sounds impossible.
It would be. And that's why we have what are called performing rights organizations, or PROs. You've probably heard of names like ASCAP or BMI.
They're like the middlemen.
They're basically collection agencies for songwriters. So a radio station or a business, they don't pay each artist individually. They pay a single fee to a PRO for a license.
A blanket license, right. So they can play anything from that PRO's whole catalog.
Correct. Then the PROs use data and tracking to figure out which songs were played, and they send the money, which we call performance royalties, back to the songwriters and publishers.
So that system keeps the money flowing for public performances.
It does. But that's just for the composition. There's another important payment called mechanical royalties.
Mechanical? That sounds old-fashioned.
It comes from the old days of player pianos, actually. But today, it just means a payment for the right to reproduce a song, to make a copy.
So back in the day, every time a label pressed a CD or a vinyl record, they had to pay a mechanical royalty to the songwriter.
That's right, for every single physical copy made. And that still applies to digital downloads and certain kinds of streaming, too.
Is this something a songwriter can say no to? Like, if I write a hit, can I stop a band I hate from making a cover of it?
That's a great question, and generally, no, you can't. This is where something called a compulsory license comes in.
Compulsory as in you're forced to do it.
Pretty much. The rule is, once a song has been released to the public for the first time, anyone can record and release their own cover version of it,
As long as they pay you.
as long as they pay the legally required mechanical royalty rate. The idea is to encourage more music and more creativity, so you can't just hoard your composition forever. You control the first release, but after that, it's open for covers.
That's fascinating. So how does all this, the performance and the mechanical royalties, work with streaming? When I hit play on Spotify, it's not really a performance like on the radio, and it's not a copy like a CD.
Well, the law says it's actually both at the same time.
It's both.
Yep. A stream is considered a public performance because you're listening to it, and it's also considered a digital reproduction because the data is being transmitted. So that one single click.
Triggers both royalty streams.
Exactly. That tiny fraction of a cent that gets generated is split. Part of it is a performance royalty that goes through the PROs, and another part is a mechanical royalty for the digital copy.
Wow. No wonder everyone's always arguing about streaming payouts. It's incredibly complicated.
It is, and that split, that distinction between the two rights becomes even more important when we talk about sampling.
Right. Taking a little piece of an old song and using it in a new one, super common in hip-hop, electronic music.
Everywhere.
Mm.
But it is a legal minefield if you don't do it correctly.
Because to use a sample legally, you don't need one permission. You need two.
You absolutely need to. First, you need a license from the owner of the composition, the publisher, to use the melody or the lyrics.
And second,
You need a license from the owner of the sound recording, the record label, to use that specific snippet of audio.
and if you skip one,
You're infringing on copyright.
Hmm.
You could get sued for a lot of money or even be forced to give up ownership of your new song.
even for a really short sample, like a 2-second drum loop.
Even for a 2-second drum loop.
Yeah.
There's no magic number. If it's recognizable, you need to clear it. There are famous cases of artists losing millions because they thought a sample was too small to matter.
But there is a sort of legal escape hatch, right? Something called fair use.
There is, but you have to be very, very careful with it. Fair use allows you to use copyrighted material without permission in very specific, limited situations.
Like what?
Think criticism, news reporting, teaching, or research.
So if a YouTuber is reviewing a new album and plays a 10-second clip to make a point about the chorus, that's probably fair use.
That's a perfect example. But the key factor courts always look at is, does your new work harm the market for the original?
Meaning, does it stop people from needing to buy or stream the original song?
Exactly. You can't just upload the entire song with a title that says, My Review, and call it fair use. Your use has to be transformative. It has to add something new.
It can't just be a replacement for the original.
Never.
Okay, let's talk about the timeline. These rights don't last forever. How long does a copyright protect a song?
For a very long time. In most places, it's the entire life of the creator, plus another 70 years after they die.
70 years. So it can benefit their kids and even their grandkids.
It can. The idea is to give a strong incentive to create. But once that time is up,
What happens then?
the music enters the public domain.
That means it belongs to everyone.
It does. Anyone can use it for free for any reason, without asking permission, no fees, no licenses. This is why you hear old classical music from, say, the 1800s in movies all the time. The copyright has expired.
It becomes part of our shared culture.
That's the goal.
But the future is bringing some huge new challenges to this whole system. I'm thinking about artificial intelligence.
Oh, absolutely. AI is the biggest question mark in copyright law right now.
Because the whole system is based on a human creator. So what happens if a song is generated entirely by a machine? Can it even be copyrighted?
That's the billion-dollar question. Right now, the legal answer is mostly no. The law requires a human author to be the source of the creativity. The AI can be a tool, like a guitar or a synthesizer.
But a human has to be the one directing it.
That's the current thinking. But the technology is moving so fast, the law is really struggling to keep up.
And then there's the other side of it, using AI to perfectly copy a famous singer's voice.
The deepfakes. That's a huge ethical and legal gray area. If I make a new song using an AI that sounds exactly like a famous artist, am I infringing on their copyright? Or is it something new?
It's not their sound recording, but it is their sound.
Exactly. And lawmakers are scrambling to figure out if we need new kinds of rights to protect an artist's unique voice or style from being digitally copied like that. It's a whole new frontier.
So really, understanding this stuff about authorship and what part of the music is being protected is more important than ever for anyone making music today.
It really is. The whole system is a balance. It's trying to reward the creator for both the initial idea, the composition, and the hard work of producing the final track, the recording.
So as you go back to your playlists, here's something to think about. For your absolute favorite song, which part is more valuable? Is it the words and the melody that could be sung by anyone? Or is it that one specific perfect recording of it that you know and love?
Good luck with your studies.
See you next time.